So today we are checking out Black Desert from Pearl Abyss, Korean MMO that is currently in closed beta. This is the first look at the gameplay that we got a chance to check out ourselves, so a bit of exclusive content. Some of the areas you'll see here you might not have seen in other videos, so definitely worth a watch in my opinion. One of the biggest things that we're probably going to be commenting on the most is the graphics. As you can see already, it's a pretty good looking game. The main reason for that is the video that we've done, what the focus is kind of exploration and kind of just checking different areas out. Because as far as content goes, everything is in Korean. It is a Korean MMO, so we can't actually understand any of it. We, trying to pick up a quest, it's pretty difficult. You don't know where you're going, you don't even know what you're supposed to be doing when you get there. So, for the most part, we will be checking out the graphics. So kind of commenting, you can kind of see the view range on this game. It does look really, really good. You kind of check out that sea, how clear it looks. They've got a weird kind of fading kind of feature to the graphics, like in the distance. It's not just a short draw distance, they kind of fade it out at the back, so it's pretty cool. It's a different way of doing things. But if you just kind of like look around this town, like all the different characters and the models and the textures, it's all looking pretty fantastic. And in some ways, it's not quite the top end of graphics that you can get, but this is an MMORPG, let's not forget. This isn't your single player game. So in some ways it's kind of, for me, quite reminiscent of Age of Conan, which at the time I thought was amazing graphics. This is obviously, I'll give it credit, it's a bit of a step beyond that. But it is a pretty good looking game, and that is the biggest thing about Black Desert. The fact that when you're in the environment, it feels like you're there, you feel like you're in a living city. So it's a pretty cool thing. Here we're kind of checking out the combat. You can see the menu there. We've no idea what any of it does, but you've got a kind of action-based combat. You kind of smash a few keys and buttons, and you can kind of dodge in and out of battle. You can do these like crazy combos and stuff. And kind of smashing up dummies is always fun. One of the good things about the game is when you're kind of exploring, as we said, is a big part of it. Once you go beyond the kind of pretty amazing looking cities and towns, you've got these little pockets of environments and kind of little features. So you've got like these ruins and stuff that you'll come across, or kind of little temples. And for us, this area is actually kind of a little bit more advanced than our level. As soon as you kind of get caught up by any mobs around here, you're pretty much going to die straight away. So we can't really check that out too much. And one of the big problems with exploring places is we're going to go to places that we can't necessarily fight anything. So combat wise, you've probably seen the majority of it by us beating up the dummy. That is kind of the capabilities that we have. We can't really kind of check out the talent trees and stuff. And so as you can see, our guy here is now getting chased. We keep kind of running. You've got your stamina bar there, and once you hit shift and you start running, it kind of instantly drains it, automatically sprints for a minute, and then you kind of have this weird rubber banding effect that I really don't like. But so we've kind of entered into some weird castle that you could see in the opening of the video. We had the kind of the bloom effect. There's the big castle in the distance. This is that castle. What's beyond those walls, we will never find out. So yeah, so that's basically what happens. You kind of start getting beat up, and you have these kind of like cool little flashing things around around the side of your vision, kind of showing that you're damaged. That was kind of overlook of the map. Not much to see, but you'll see it again. So you respawn back where you were, which is kind of pretty cool. If you go to a new area, you'll automatically respawn back at that area. So you don't really have that much distance to travel. If you do die and you want to get back to an area that you were. We're taking on kind of one of the lower end mobs. We're just doing it with kind of so little health when you respawn you don't have all your health back, so it's hard to jump back into battle. Fortunately we kind of get a bit of a break with this one, even though it nearly kills us. We do manage to drop it, we level up, and that kind of instantly replenishes all our health. And one of the things, like these monsters around here, especially in the early days, you kind of kill one and you level up, you kill two and then you level up again. It's kind of crazy. Not that they're particularly difficult, but the kind of marker between leveling up is kind of pretty small. One of the cool things about this game, you actually have spacebar, which is a jump button, but if you press it against that fence like that, then you actually climb over it. So you climb over the environments as opposed to having to just jump over them all the time, which for us is a pretty cool feature. Again, it adds that element of realism which this game captivates amazingly. So again, a little bit further afield from the overhead map that we saw, there was a big kind of town area that we're trying to head to, and that's it. You kind of see it in the distance with the blur effects. But this is a little guard outpost just on the outskirts. Again, you can pick quests up and stuff like this, and these vendors and things, but we can't talk to them. We don't know what they're doing. But it is just kind of a nice little area to kind of check out. For anybody that's actually into role-playing and things like that, then I think this game is going to be amazing for that. For people that kind of want to just play as the guards of this outpost and kind of role-playing around this area, then you can do that. You can kind of carve out your own little kind of RP guilds and towns and things like that. And again, this game does it brilliantly. So this is kind of reaching the town, and you do actually kind of stumble straight into an open PvP zone. We didn't flag for it. We kind of got there, and then instantly we were cleaved in two by this kind of crazy giant guy, which is a playable character. The kind of larger ogreish type guys. So we kind of arrived and died with grace and finesse, I like to think. But because we had reached that area and we respawn, instantly puts us into the town. So there you go, we have reached it. That is it on the overhead map. We are kind of at our travel destination, but you know, it's only because we were pretty much outside the walls anyway. So kind of checking this area out again, role players, you're gonna love it. Or anybody that's into kind of exploration or just has an appreciation of graphics and stuff, you'll see just by walking around this town, just the, you know, the interior and the exterior of the buildings, it's just so atmospheric. It really kind of sets the mood. This place, you know, it looks like, you know, is where adventurers gather to talk about what they were doing that day. So we've kind of like had a little look around. We're back outside the walls. That is the area where we were fighting and where we were killed a moment ago. Now we're kind of following these guys, not really knowing where they're going to take us, but you know, they seem to be quite confident about heading in this direction. Pretty much everybody that plays this game is Korean. It was open to the press for closed beta, so we all a few of us got to check it out. But you know, I imagine the majority of us didn't really know what they were doing, so you kind of get to have a look at the graphics and stuff. But here, there's a lot of people fighting, and we are running right into the middle of it. Absolutely no idea what the objectives are, so we just kind of came in and give somebody some XP, basically. And it looked like then there was a pop-up saying -5 XP, so I think kind of dying in battle, you do actually suffer a penalty for it, which is great. You know, you've got consequences to dying, which is almost unprecedented in most MMOs these days, especially to take away something like XP. So this is kind of a little bit further afield outside of the town, and again, it's just the atmosphere. When you kind of look around, it's kind of like pretty creepy, especially when you're kind of a noob character, and just kind of the settling mist as you kind of go through this swamp area. It's pretty cool. And at this stage, we've got this kind of little creature chasing after us, and it might not be the toughest, but we ain't got that much health, so we're gonna kind of keep hitting that sprint button and get the hell out of dodge. And this is it. It's just kind of these places that you stumble upon. You know, we're kind of like checking out. I mean, I'm sure that something like this is a quest area, but you kind of like stumble on these new places. You find these new mobs, and you know, it's crazy. There's just so much going on with it, and it's such a cool little fantasy world as well. There is kind of it's unique to itself. They kind of made up their own kind of creatures and races, not rehashed the same old stuff like so many other MMOs do. So we've got this little weird kind of, I don't know, rat type weird looking guy. You've got these reindeer looking race as well. So there's definitely a lot going on. And there you go, you've got a guy riding past on some lizard wolf type thing. Really cool little fantasy MMO, really worth checking out. Check our other videos.